guys on the 6th. So, but my schedule is so full these days that this date actually snuck up on me. So I apologize to you guys for being a little late. What time does class end?
11:20.
11:20? Okay, so we have over an hour, plenty of time. Now, young man, what's your name? Elijah. You asked me to give you a brief summary of what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about everything.
Everything about everything?
Everything about everything. Okay? Now, what's the name of this course? American History? History? Okay. All right. History is all inclusive. It includes everything that has happened, and it also gives you an idea, paints a picture of what's about to happen. So through studying history and the cycles of history, we begin to learn to forecast or predict coming events. All right. So as I walked into the classroom today, and I'll give you guys a brief history of me real quick. My name is Professor Jones. I work at Hartford Junior College as an adjunct professor. I teach all sorts of leadership courses that involve history, economics, you name it. Everything is encompassed in the community leadership program. I also have 2 degrees in history, an undergraduate degree, and also have a master's degree in history. Okay? Saying all that, I have learned more about history since I graduated from my master's program at Arcadia University than I did in the previous 20 years of school. School, this here, is designed to give you guys tools. It's not designed for you to learn all you need to know. Oh, excuse me. It's supposed to be designed to give you guys tools. Tools that you can use so that you can further learn how to learn. Learn how to uncover information. Learn how to hone your craft. Things of that nature. You'll never get all the information you need in school. Let me give you a comparison. If you go to take the test for your driver's exam, you must first pass the written or oral test, correct?
Correct.
Then you get to take your driver's test, the test to see if you earned your driver's license, right? Okay, now let me ask you a question. Do you think you will have learned all there is to know about driving
No.
when you pass that test? Okay, so that's what school is supposed to be. School is supposed to be the entry level. It's supposed to be the start, it's supposed to be the foundation of the learning that you partake in for the rest of your life. Now, how many of you guys right now feel as though, what grade is this? 11. Okay. First year of college, right? All right. Well, how many of you feel as though that you've learned or you are in the process of learning everything there is to know about anything? Okay. You do? Okay. All right. We'll see if you still feel that way at the end of this. No. That's not taking a slight at her. I'm not taking any slights at anybody. All right? Because we're going to come back to how you guys are the key to all this.
You're the future.
Yeah, you are the future, but you're more than just the future. You're the future Messiahs. You're the future that protects the future. You're the future that saves the future. But you have to see that. It is powerful. But you have to see that. I don't know how religious some of you are.
I'm not even.
You know, I would say I can't say I'm a practicing Christian, but I do follow the Bible. I follow Christ. That's my choice. It's my religion. You're entitled to yours. But one thing I will say is that in Genesis, it does say that when God created man and woman, that he created us in his image. So, in creating us in his image, what does that mean? That means every time you look into a mirror, you are looking at the face of God. Now, before I just said that, how many of you ever thought about that in that context before? Good.
Well, I think I heard it.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. You'll be surprised at how the three major Judeo-Christian Islamic religions intertwine in terms of their philosophy, in terms of the scripture. But we're not going to get into that much of that today. All right. So the way school is designed, a lady by the name of Charlotte Isabel wrote a book called The Dumbing Down of America. In her book, she talks about how her father was a member of a group, Skull and Bones. Anybody familiar with Skull and Bones? Okay, Skull and Bones. Some would equate Skull and Bones to the Illuminati reborn here in America. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of the Illuminati. Let me explain something to you before we go too far. I don't know any rappers that are in it. All right? You have to be born into these families. There are 13 specific bloodlines and they're very, very, how can I say, exclusive families. They're exclusive families. If you ever want to look up the Illuminati, look up the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, and it'll give you some ideas as to what that family's about. All I can tell you is that if you see anybody doing things, you might see them doing things that are of the occult. You might see them doing things that are signifying their allegiance to these secret societies. But they are not, especially rappers, entertainers, they are not, the majority of them anyway, are not in the Illuminati. Only people who have the bloodline. Yes?
My cousin, he like 40 something, but anyway, he came to the house one time. It was like in the last year. He had like all this skull stuff on and like a crosses to it. And I asked him because it didn't look interesting, but it looked a bit weird. So I asked him, what is it? He said he was a part of the Illuminati. So I told him to get the hell out of my house. I'm not with that shit about.
You know what though? We got to understand something though, man. And when it comes to that, and then I'm going to go back into what we were talking about in terms of education. We have to look at things in the literal sense and the figurative sense. Figuratively, people think that you could do whatever, join whatever group you want. Literally, you can't. Now, I'll take this and I'll tell you about a story about a young man within the last year who saw a DVD or a video about blood sacrifices. So,
Let me open the door.
I can tell you what I
wasn't going to open this door.
Open the door.
So, thank you. We welcome you to the lecture. Okay? So, the young man thought that you needed to do a blood sacrifice in order to join this elite group. So he tried to kill his friend. Now, I'm not totally familiar to the whole story, but one of them died. Because they thought they needed to perform a blood sacrifice in order to gain this fame. I can't speak on things I don't know about, so I don't know enough about that, so I can't really speak on it. What I can say though is I don't think that young man is going to join any of these societies. But to go back to what we were talking about in school of education, there is an elite group that is hell bent on you guys being future slaves.
Don't come back.
The future slaves. See, you guys are being bred right now, and It's a tracking system through the standardized testing that you guys are all taking. And through that tracking system, they know which one of you guys are, they know who's going to be, well, they know your intellectual aptitude to this point, based on the standardized tests that you take. You guys have to take a certain amount of standardized tests in order to graduate from high school now, right? Yeah, what's the test? The Keystone test? You guys have to pass, right? That's here in Pennsylvania. See, what you don't understand is that type of testing is designed for most of you to fail. So that you can all line up at McDonald's, KFC, so you can all line up at other places and become workers. And when you don't become workers, when those jobs get full, you guys are unemployed, but you still need to eat. So then you turn to other means of support, other means of financial support. Those systems are designed. You don't think drugs get into this country by accident, do you? You don't think that your whole generation loves weed so much because weed is good for you, right? Although there are some beneficial uses of marijuana, not the stuff you get. I mean, I don't know any benefit from having pesticides sprayed on anything and then inhale, because that's the stuff you get on the street. Now, alright, but the bottom line is, this system is set up for you to fail. So many different ways. Charlotte Isabelle breaks it down in her book, The Dumbing Down of America. Okay? She breaks it down. There are others that have broken it down. There's a gentleman, and his name slips my mind right now, who was a producer. He was a movie producer. And he was a friend of a Rockefeller. Alright? And one of the Rockefellers then told him all about the education system, women's liberation movement, things of these nature that was set up to get the parents out of the household. So you could double the income of international bankers through taxes, because you have more people working, more tax money comes out. And also, it puts you guys, children, in the possession of the schools, where the schools start raising children. Now this stuff that was talked about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, there are people who have been talking about this stuff all along. But they were labeled wacky conspiracy theories. They were labeled people